Peace and blessings, family. This is your brother Asarimhotep with the Madhu Institute for the Advancement of Science and Culture, and coming to you with just a quick thought. I'll try not to be long with this, but I was just kind of perusing the what we call these internet streets, and checking out videos from different fellas in the manosphere. And I'm always interested in what the current discussions are around the world. And, of course, a hot topic is, and this is always, and it's always been this way, in terms of relationships and what are good and bad practices and ideas and values when entering into a relationship between a man and a woman. And so was watching a few shows, and there's always brought up this subject of submission. Like, men are looking for women to submit to them in a relationship. And while I understand the underlying connotations, and I know where a lot of this originates, I just wanted to put or bring forth a different perspective on this particular concept, because, of course, a lot of us are coming from the biblical or Abrahamic traditions when arguing this concept of submission. And in a few of the programs in which I watched, when the woman was asked, should they submit to a man in a relationship, and some of them were hesitant to answer, but a few of them was like yes. And then they would reply back, well, I believe that a man should also submit to his wife. And this causes some discord in the manosphere for a number of reasons. And I don't even know if you can hear the cat outside. Anyway, I'm probably going to shut that window soon. But this notion that a man does not have to submit to a woman in for example, in a marriage context, is not really an African concept. And so, what I want to interject in this conversation is this notion that there are times in which you're going to have to submit to your wife, and so we're going to get into what it means truly in terms of submission. So I'm gonna share my screen. It's going to probably be about 4 slides. And so, since we deal with a lot of Egyptology, here we're just going to go to the oldest text and see how the ancient Egyptians themselves, these African people, kind of viewed this question, and what insights and evidence did they leave for us to read and reflect on, and to incorporate in our lives into this very day. So I'm just going to add this to the screen. As a matter of fact, I just make it full screen, and we'll do this. So the first slide that I want to share is from the teachings, or what we call the maxims of Ptah-hotep, lines 325 and 335 through 335. It reads as follows: if you are worthy and establish your house, love your wife passionately and rightfully, give her food and clothe her. Oil is the prescription for her body. Make her happy as long as you live, for she is a valuable field for her Lord. Remember, her Lord, this is for her leader. Do not judge her. Deliver her from violence. Suppress it. For her eye is a storm wind when she sees it. Soothe her heart with what you have gained. Thus will you cause her to remain in your house. So we're just going to go over a few of these real quick. So what it says here, if you are worthy and establish your house, you have to understand that in ancient Egyptian times, they did not have weddings. They really didn't have a word for marriage. What happened was a man built a home. And when he had his stuff in order, he would ask a woman basically to marry her. And they would do, the rituals involved in terms of dowry, anything to that nature to the families. And she would move into his home. So if you are worthy and you establish your home, so this means to literally build it and to be married. That's essentially what that means. Notice, love your wife passionately and rightfully. Give her food and clothe her. Oil is the prescription for her body. So you see here, like a lot of this stuff, like in the manosphere, they would think this is simping. But we have to understand something real quick. The ancient Egyptian society lasted over 3,000 years. And they were able to do so much with so few because of the nature of the relationships that they had internally in terms of marriage and family, and externally with the community itself. And so if we want to be able to build for eternity, we should look into the kind of values and insights that the brothers in ancient Kemet understood and knew and wrote down for posterity regarding the nature of male-female relationships. So make her happy as long as you live. Now, this is debatable, because you really can't make people happy. They have to be happy, and you can add on to it, but that's another discussion. For she is a valuable field for her Lord. Remember, this was an agricultural society. So what they're saying is that, if you pour into her, you nurture her like a field, like an agricultural field, she will multiply and produce for you in various aspects of life. So you're going to have to pour into her. You're going to have to nurture her. You're going to have to invest in her. That's what it means to cultivate something. It means to invest. So if you invest in her and you think of her as a valuable field, you will do what you need to do in order to make a peaceful home and a prosperous life. Do not judge her. Deliver her from violence. Suppress it. So you are not supposed to be a source of violence for her. You, as a man, are supposed to be a protector. She is supposed to feel safe in your presence. So you are the one who is to deliver her from the violence of the world. For her eye is a storm wind when she sees it. Soothe her heart with what you have gained. So what you have gained in the world, you share with her. Thus will you cause her to remain in your house. So it's giving advice here for how to have a long and sustained marriage. And so now we're going to get into the submission thing. And this is what's going to be important. So understand that you are her Lord in the house. So they believe that the male is the head of the household. Like most African countries and villages and civilizations and ethnic groups, the man is generally the head of house. He is the leader. He is the Lord of the house. But this comes with a certain type of responsibility, and this is what I mean by answering that question about should a man submit to his wife? Should a husband submit to his wife? So now, actually, and this is an error at the top. This is not Ptahhotep. This is from the Papyrus of Ani, or from the scribe Ani, which is cited here below. So this should be Ani at the top here, not Ptahhotep, who you see over here on the left. This is the scribe Ani. So now, in his text, he says, "Do not supervise your wife in her house when you know she is excellent." So the house that you built is for your family. She runs your home. It says, do not supervise, like don't be a boss to her. Do not supervise your wife in her house when you know she is excellent. And this is important to note, because why would you choose a woman to marry who you did not think was intelligent, who was not excellent in all that she does? That should have been the criteria that you look for in a wife in the first place. So now, do not say to her, "Where is it?" or "Bring it to us," when she has put it in its proper place. Let your eyes observe and keep silent, and you will come to perceive her superior practice. There is happiness when you support her. There are many men who do not know this. So even back in the day, there was brothers who just didn't get it. And so these wise, sages and elders, wrote this down so people like us in 2021 can get it. But if a man refrains from provoking strife at home, he will not experience its inception. Every man who wishes to establish a house, that means get married and a foundation for the generations to come, must discipline the unrestrained heart and mind. And so let's revisit this, because they don't use the word submission in here. But what the scribe Ani is telling you here is that your wife has a certain skill set and a certain knowledge set. And when you are in the presence of her and she knows more than you in how to do something in this area that you don't know, you have to submit to her. Let her be. And this isn't a gender specific concept here. For example, anybody who has been in the military and knows much about like how the Navy SEALs operate, like any military institution, there is a hierarchy. There's a natural hierarchy, from the private all the way to the 4-star general. There's a hierarchy there. However, when you are in a SEALs team, right, rank matters little against experience and skill set. A higher ranking officer will yield his leadership to the person who has the most experience and the most knowledge in a particular area, and they will take their lead. So this is what all of this is saying here in terms of lead. Because if you're establishing a household, if you are a man, you are a leader. And knowing how to lead means knowing when to delegate and to trust the people under your leadership that have certain knowledge and certain skill sets. So do not supervise your wife in her house when you know she is excellent. Do not say to her, "Where is it?" or bring it to us when she has put it in the proper place. Let your eyes observe and keep silent, and you will come to perceive her superior practice. So even in your home, there are times where you're going to have to submit to your wife, because in certain areas in life, she is going to have more experience and she is going to know more than you. And so it's not an issue simply of submitting to the gender, but you're submitting to the experience and the knowledge of the holder of that experience and knowledge, and knowing when to shift back and forth when it is beneficial to the household, because both of you are not necessarily submitting to one another, but more so the overall objective and the plan for the family. And so when you are doing your daily duties and you're evaluating what is best for the family, you are doing what you need to do and submitting to the plan that y'all put in place. And I said the plan. You're not supposed to be getting married with no plan. See, the man is usually the one who establishes a plan. He has a plan and objective. A woman has a plan and stuff for her life. Y'all meet up because y'all have similar plans and objectives and values. And so y'all get together to work the plan. And y'all understand y'all roles and skill sets that will allow for you to achieve and to see your plan come into fruition. And so when we look at the word submit, the definition means to place oneself under the control of another, to yield oneself. It comes from, is broken up into two morphemes from the word sub, meaning under, and meter, meaning to let go or send. It is the root for the word mission. So what is the mission? The act of sending, a dispatching, a release, a setting at liberty, discharge from service or dismissal. From past participle stem, meter, meaning to release or to let go, to send or to throw. Now you have to understand that in the earlier days, whether this is in Indo-European or even in African languages, the word for business and the words for mission derives from a root meaning to go, to send. And this is what I discuss in my text, Aluja Volume 2, that was released in 2020, in January of 2020. And so to do business, to be on a mission is to go, to send somewhere. And so when you are talking about submission, you're submitting ultimately to the mission, to the objective, to the family plan. And there's a hierarchy in terms of roles and responsibility. But when it comes to a certain area of expertise and knowledge, whether you are the husband or whether you are the wife or whether you are the children, this is why children need to listen to their parents. They have to yield to the knowledge and experience of the people who are older. But as a lot of us have grown older, and for example, they want to get into these social media streets, and your children, pick the stuff up really quickly, but it takes you a while, and you go to your children and ask them, well, how do I do this? You have to yield to their knowledge and experience in that moment. And so, bringing it back to the subject, when it comes to a husband, and notice when I'm using these words clear, I'm not talking about boyfriend, girlfriend. Your girlfriend does not have to submit to your authority and role, because you haven't established, you haven't invited her, you haven't put together a plan and said that you want her to be a part of that plan. You see her as an asset, and that y'all have similar visions and values, and that you have invited her into a marriage institute so that you can see that plan. You haven't gotten there yet. So if you are boyfriend and girlfriend, this isn't even really a discussion for you. Maybe when you're talking about marriage, if you're just going around sleeping with you, this ain't the conversation for you. Submission is for husbands and wives. And so you both submit to the mission, and you do what you have to do, and you yield to the experience and authority of your mate, depending on the time and the situation and things of that nature. And so I just wanted to end with that. I didn't want to make it too long. Uh, Continue to support on patreon.com/asarimhotep, or directly at asarimhotep.com. So with that said, I have no more talk, as we say in H-Town. And with that, I am out. Peace.